to the No Invite Podcast. Yeah.
Season 4. The process.
So, okay, anyways, here we go. No Invite Podcast, episode 122. You know, I had to look back because... I had to look back. I don't know about all that, but had to look back to make sure because my notes are back there. We're not exactly planning to do a podcast. We didn't do one last week, but we here. Got Hot Momma in the building. We got our resident therapizer. I think if that's the word. If not, we invented it. We got Britt in the building. How we doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing fucking great. Awesome. Woke up this morning, fucking piss excellence. You know, just the regular shit. Smacked the fucking snow cone out of some kid's hand. I felt great. You know what I'm saying? I'm all right.
That's good.
So we're here now. Obviously, no Ann this week, no Patty. We set out the bat signal, but Patty didn't pop up. You know what I mean? Once again, shout out to producer Patty off saving the world and creating sustainable energy for generations to come, and at the same time being a philanthropist and all that, and fighting. Oh no, wait a minute, that's Iron Man. Never mind. All right, but Patty's close to that though. She's something like Iron Man. You know what I mean? For sure. Shout out to producer Patty. Anyways, wherever you're at, there you are. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go ahead like we always do. You know, we got to keep it moving. This is the process. The seasons always have themes to them. So we always try to rock with that theme and show you guys the process and let people know that it's not exactly some overnight shit. There's no mistake that I'm fucking right here standing before your eyes. You know what I'm saying? However you see it, whatever energy or God you see it is there's a reason why I'm here, you know, and I could tell you a few that I think, but at the end we don't know, you know, and we don't know until I think we fulfill that. So what am I talking about? I don't get it. I don't know. But anyways, so we're going to go, yeah, exactly. We're going to avoid that and we're going to pass it over to Hot Momma. How was your week?
My week was amazing, as usual. You know, I'm always having just the best of weeks and times and enjoying the rain and the sun and all that there is to life.
Sound like the Cue the Brady Bunch music in the background.
Yeah, you know, I'm
shit,
just like a little unicorn prancing through life.
That's
Galloping.
Right. How's the podcasting adventures in podcast land going?
It's getting real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like starting to... I think about it before I go to sleep at night and things like that, like editing and things like that.
It's keeping you up at night now?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, instead of just being able to, like, close my eyes and dream of unicorns and stuff, it's definitely like, okay, well, what episode's coming out this week? And what was that part that I had to take out? And what came up last week? Like, did I do that? And I don't know. It's just...
It's a lot, right?
Yes, it's a lot of fun, but it's definitely...
It's not, but it's work, real. Though. People think it's just like, you know what I mean? You got to still... Yeah. Unless you got a team instantly right from the get-go, everybody knows their position. It's less of a strain on one person. Yeah. But if you're starting off and you're doing it for yourself, you know what I mean?
Everybody is finding our roles and our positions really good. Like, we're falling into place really good. And so I do, like, give my team, like, a clap for sure because that's helpful. But I don't know. It's just me too, like, wanting to do it all.
Control. Just a little bit of control.
Sure.
Yeah, that's all.
But that's your baby. It's, you know, like something that you're putting out there, so you want to be proud of it. So I understand.
You're the motherfucking you're the motherfucking Michael Jackson of this shit. You're the David Ruffin. You know, you put this shit together, so you trying to, you know, you got to make sure. Oh no, never mind. David Ruffin probably not a good example. You know, watching too many movies.
I don't even know. I have to Google multiple times today.
Ain't nobody coming to see you. Oh, hey, never mind. You know, I'm gonna leave it at that. So look,
on that side of the room, you guys got it.
No, for sure. We're gonna start putting out the No Invite movie playlist for all those people that haven't seen these movies.
Oh my gosh, you've never seen that movie?
No.
The Temptations?
I mean, I love The Temptations, so I'm sure I've watched their movie, but I can't recall. Maybe I just haven't watched it.
You gotta watch it a few times.
Yeah,
There's a lot of good quotes in there.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched it as an adult. I think it's been a long time.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when you watch kids, like, I've rewatched movies as a parent, and I'm like, oh no, that bitch was out. Like, what was she doing, acting like that as a mom or whatever?
Yes.
You know, I don't know. That's just like,
you watch shit back. You wonder why shit was so out of pocket. You know,
there was a lot.
I was just like accepting of it when I was younger. It was like so.
You don't notice
whatever,
it. You have
know?
Innocent eyes.
Yeah. Then I get older and I'm like, nah. Why would the mom let her like play like that? Or why would you?
It's really when you're a child, they really try to like put in that comedy that's like above your head. It's just like try to romanticize it in a sense, so you don't get it. You just don't get the theme more or less, and then as you get older, you realize you're like, damn, this shit's kind of.
I'm seeing movies differently.
I have a theory, you know what I'm saying, and this is just me because I'm into the whole Marvel movie comic book shit, right? So I have a theory that if you watch the first Spider-Man movies that came out, that Mary Jane is really trash, bro. Trash as fuck. First of all, she was with Harry, right? And then Peter stole her from him. Then in the next part, she was getting married, but she still wanted to be with Peter, so she left dude at the altar. And then in the third part, she starts fucking with Harry again. Now, if you know what I'm talking about, then you know. If y'all don't know, it's cool. We could keep it moving. That's what you call speed bump. We're just gonna keep it running. But Mary Jane trash in the movie, so I didn't know how the pocket she was until I got older. And I was like, damn, bitch, you really getting these motherfuckers fighting and killed and all this shit. Like you ain't shit. Jesus Christ.
Right now.
Anyways,
this reminds me. Okay, so this reminds me of like the Twilight movies. How fucking Bella
I
can't.
was thinking the same thing.
Right? Like she can't choose between.
It was out of pocket.
I'm just saying.
Starting wars and shit.
Accepting. I'm just saying.
We live in a different time.
There. I mean, if I get down there, my chair is gonna fart hell up. If I move.
Yeah. Blame it on the chair. Yeah. All of a sudden. Let's just say
I told you we talked about this
just
shit
remember
beforehand.
Just know those ain't sound effects in the background. You know
Whatever. You can clip them out if you want to. Take
We're going to emphasize them, though. Fuck that shit. We're going to sample them and make a whole beat from that shit. It's going to be the background music to the episode and shit. I'll be fired, though. Stop playing. I'm going to go get the little homie right now. He got hands with the beats. So, yeah. What the fuck were we talking about, C?
We'll call it a speed bump.
Yeah, we'll call it a speed bump. Just keep it moving.
Movies are just out of pocket. But nowadays, the movies are still... They put a lot of adult humor in a lot of things. There's things where... you're right, my son. He was watching Ninja Turtles. And I'm upstairs and I hear, I'm going to beat your A. And I was like... My son's 8 and I'm very, very strict on like the age stuff. So I go downstairs. I'm like, what age group is this? He's like, Y7, Mom. I looked, I was like, oh, they're just saying whatever now. They don't even care. Yeah.
No, they've definitely switched the standard from when we were kids to now. Like a lot more gets through and shit. Yeah, we were talking about that. Remember you said you were watching what show it was? It was the Velma show.
The Velma show.
Yeah, and it definitely wasn't for kids. Yeah, it wasn't for kids, but it's a cartoon, so it's
but it's a cartoon, yeah.
And it's based off a children's cartoon. No, you feel me? It's based off Scooby Doo, so
somebody
it's like how can you not? Yeah, you know what I mean?
And just come across it and be like, and even like the first 30 seconds was out of pocket.
Yeah.
What is this?
It's called Velma. It's on.
They did like a remake of. They did like a spin-off show of Scooby Doo, and it has Velma, you know, with the glasses and stuff. Yeah. But it's very much for adults. And it's definitely not for kids. It's wild, and so it's like, people were complaining about that because it's based off a child's franchise, but they did like some adult themed shit with it. So I don't know. So it's wild.
I'm just like a big fan of like monitoring what your kids are watching.
Me too. I'm a big fan of not letting them have too much screen time if possible. You feel me? At a certain age, at least. When they get to like, like teenager and stuff like that, and even then, like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of social media, to be honest with you. I really don't fuck with it like that. If I didn't have to use it for what I'm doing and just to keep up all the shit and the contacts and stuff, I probably wouldn't do it, to be honest with you, because it just, I don't give a fuck. Nobody care the way I see it, so it's like, fuck, nobody care. That's how I feel. So what the fuck? Fuck it. Why I care what... The thing about social media, have you caring about shit, the opinions of people that don't even care about you, Yeah,
I feel like I do the opposite. I feel like I have family who isn't nearby, and so I post a lot of my kids and things like that.
Yeah.
So that way they can see the kids and things and have like a somewhat of an idea of who they are or like what they are. And
well, that's what it was intended for. Like that's when social media, that was like the intention, at first was, keep contact and connected and updated with people that you don't really get to see all the time. Maybe people from your schools or whatever that, at the time colleges started off in that arena. So, but now it's just morphed in some other shit. It's like a whole new industry being born. Like I was telling somebody else, it's like, because of that shit, it's just a brand new thing. We talked about it, remember, with the cloning of voice. They have AI that could clone voice now.
I saw that.
So we're talking about that shit, and it's the same thing now. It's like it's brand new territory being built. So right now, as many people that are going to take advantage of that and use it as much as possible and make as much money as they can, because eventually they're going to pass a law. Or they're going to win a lawsuit in a lawsuit in court, and it's going to set some kind of precedent. And then what's going to happen is that then you're going to have to get your voice copywritten, so they can't clone your voice and use it for any old thing. You understand? That's how that. Yeah. And since we're at the forefront of this technology, and this shit's just like a whole new industries that are being born that weren't really there. Just like how social media created a bunch of industries like influencers and other things that just weren't there. That before. So.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be intended for that. Originally, Instagram, I don't know if you've I go deep sea diving in YouTube, and they were talking about the inventors of Instagram and I think there's a documentary on it. I don't know, and how it originally was not meant to be the way that it's used now for the platform it's used, and how celebrities took that as a way to profit off of that. And so the branding, and that's where all the sponsors. So it's actually wild. I love being unplugged. I know
you're one of the few people that I know. I know quite a few, actually, a handful of people that are really they don't fuck with it. And like I said, for me, that's why to me the best way that I could control it while I'm dealing with it is two things. It's obviously I don't give a fuck about what anybody thinks, but two, just to use it for what it's what I'm using it for, that and nothing else. I'm not trying to get on here and argue with nobody. I'm not trying to sit up here and be outraged about nothing. I don't give a fuck about none of that, because unless it's actually directly affecting me right now, the best thing that I could do for the world is get my shit together and hopefully put on for some other people to get their shit together, and we could all get up and be on on a different level of living.
Here's my thing, right?
You feel me?
I feel like if social media is used for that, I could see social media being benefited using for, selling things or getting your name out there and getting all that. But I think it's also good to have it, use it as a voice and say, especially opinions, not even opinions, things that are happening around the world without being censored. I just found out literally.
Sharing information.
I literally found out, and I don't know, you probably have to bleep it out, that you can't say somebody was killed or murdered. You have to say they were unalived. And if you say it, they will actually ban you, or they will do something on YouTube. I don't know what they do if they don't. And so you can't even say suicide. You can't even say that. So I don't know if you can say sorry, but it is what it is.
I'll bleep it out. But it's right.
Yeah,
it's true.
You can't. Really? You will get you'll get a fine or something, or banned, or you'll get a pro. Yeah, you have to say they are unalived.
One thing.
So then, isn't that taking away freedom of speech in a sense?
Right?
Yes and no. But you know why? This is why, and this is why it isn't, right? And this is the problem, because eventually money corrupts a lot of shit. People stop
everything.
Everything. So check this out. Me and you start a business. We start a little website, and the website blows up big, and it starts getting a bunch of users and all that other shit, and then money starts becoming involved, right? It's still our business. No matter how big of business we're doing, it's still a business. So that's literally my shit. We tell the government all the time we don't want them interfering in our personal businesses and how we conduct our businesses, as long as we're within the laws, of course, and practicing good business. But at the same time, it's a business. It's a private business, and it sucks because it is, in a sense, blocking freedom of speech. But in a sense, also, it's platforms have rules. So if you're gonna get on there and you're gonna abide by, I'm jumping in your business. Yeah. I'm purchasing your business, and by me using your business, I have to agree to this, that, and the third, whatever. So. That's the problem. That's where the slippery slope is. People can create these other platforms and keep them like that, but eventually money seeps in, because you need money to keep things going. And then once money starts going, and things start getting relaxed, and next thing you know, they're starting to allow to do this and do that, and before you know it, it's no different than any other platform. It's happened time and time again, and that's why, to me, it's like I said, I use it as a tool. I use it as a tool. It's entertaining, I see little videos, but like I said, I'm here I did the podcast the other day. It's just about being observant. And so I observe, I take things in, I understand them, but I'm not running to the hills like this is law, and I'm not going to act like a certain type of way. I'm going to observe, and I'm going to move accordingly how I need to. Like I said, the best thing that we could do is get up and spread our message, message to people, try to help people out if we can. but also put ourselves and the people around us in a better position so that we could all be. To me, the truth, we're in a capitalist society, so to me, the true freedom is financial freedom. And that doesn't mean you have to fuck people over to be financially free. That's just a choice once you get up. So to a certain level, like to me, I want to be good, but I don't want to be to the point where I'm making decisions about a bunch of people's fucking jobs where I gotta, you know what I mean? I'm trying to help people at the end of the day. So I want to be up enough to help people, put people in positions, and if that's the route they want to go and they want to go as high as they want, that's on them, you know. But you know, it's money. At the end of the day, it is censorship, but it's not a right. You dig what I'm saying? It is. They are censoring by stopping you from letting.
So if I wanted to go out into the streets and just be like, say what I want to say no matter what, that's kind of like freedom of speech for sure. But if I wanted to go into Cold Stone ice cream and be like, hey, listen up and like spread my word,
yeah, they could tell you to get out.
I'm going into a business and that's against their rules.
Yeah,
just like it would be against it.
And that's what it is. And see, that's where the slippery slope is. Like people say it's censorship. Well, technically it's not, but it is also not how I explained it. You know, they are censoring you from information, but being that it's a private platform, they don't have to adhere to like the law or all these other laws, because it's not that they have their freedom to pursue and do whatever they want as long as they're within the law. They you know, to make their business however they see fit, however they make money, as long as it's obviously, like I said, within the shit. So you guys,
so it's unalive.
Yeah. Oh, it's good for you to know too, for your podcast.
Yeah.
Well, it's RiBirth, so we realived. You feel me? So it's not playing. We realived. You feel me? We was there unalive. Now we back again. So
I just think people are sensitive.
It is.
It's wild to me. Just everything is. I don't know. I look at things in a different light. I just feel like not everything needs. It is what it is. If that's the S word, like why do I have to say that? And I can't say they committed blah blah blah. I have to censor myself if that's not what they did. Like it seems like there was a group of people who cried about it and were like, we don't like that word. Well, see, and it's offensive. But what is offensive about that's the truth? Yeah, it's what happened.
And that's, I think that's just the whole society at large right now. Is I don't understand this whole a lot of this shit is just real, just like unnecessary, and I want to say pussy, but I don't know if that, you know, I might get flagged for that. You feel what I'm saying? For calling a lot of pussy behavior going on right now. Pussy boy. But I mean, but at the end of the day, it's ridiculous. I think that we're the only country around the world that acts like something isn't what it is. So we try to name it something else so we don't have to deal with the fact that this is what the fuck happened. This is what it is. Does that make sense, or am I just rambling right now? Like, nah. So that's kind of where I disconnect with everything, and that's why I'm not quick to get outraged about anything. You know, people be like, oh, you know what I mean? What do you think about this? I'm like, honestly, I don't give a fuck. But obviously, people want to hear about it, so we do talk about certain things that are going on, and you know, like, and this all leads to what we were saying about Andrew Tate in general. Like, you know, a lot of people like what he says, a lot of people hate what he says. They don't like his views on relationships. They don't got most people that I found that don't like him don't like nothing he got to say, right? So that comes with the territory too. But it's the same thing. He's kind of more on some old school traditional roles when it comes to you know, male and female gender roles. You know, he has a lot of wild takes and a lot of wild shit. A lot of people get worked up about it and get sensitive, but I just my thing is that people can't be getting sensitive over shit. This is the new way, the new shit now. This is the new standard. So it's like if you jump out the window every time you hear something or you hear somebody say something that you don't agree with, it's like that. At what point does that become like restricting our freedoms for real? Like where we can't even be ourselves or be a certain type of way because it offends you, when really that certain type of way, it's not like it's not a bad thing either. You dig what I'm saying? Like for instance, me. It's gonna kick off our topic. You know, roles. Gender roles in relationships. Like, I want to ask y'all, and we're gonna start with Britt, what's your guys' take on that, and how do you feel? Are you more of a traditionalist, male taking the lead, working, being a provider, doing this, and the woman, you know what I mean, she's backing them up with the home life and the child rearing and all the stuff that I believe requires a feminine touch? So we're gonna kick it off with you. What is your stance on that, and how do you feel about just that in general?
Okay, so it's funny that you asked me this because recently this has actually been kind of a topic I've had with a few people in my circle. Because had you asked me this 2 years ago, I was definitely the type of woman who was like, you can have it all. You can have the career and you can have the family. Okay, so that's what we kind of want to tell ourselves, right? Like, we can have it all because that sounds really good. But you really can't. And I'm understanding that now as I'm getting older. Like, my desire to be married and have more children is like something that is like innate almost in me. And
it's from instinct.
I've worked since, I was 17. I graduated high school. I joined the military. So I know what work is. I know what it takes to have a job. I understand that. I also knew how much time it took away from everything else. Yeah. At that time, I was like independent. I was taught, don't depend on a man. You make sure you always have a way out. Make sure that you can get. And so for me, with that mindset, I found that now I'm at a place where I want to be a wife. I don't want to work no more. I'm being honest, I want to take care of the home. I'm even looking into homeschooling because I think this whole school education system is a joke. Like, I want to submit to a man that is trustworthy, I'm currently in, that kind of situation right now. And it's, do I trust your leadership? Do I trust you, period, to make the right decisions for this household? Are you going to provide and protect?
You're at that point where you're trying to...
Right.
Who's going to take the wheel?
Right. Well, no, I don't want the wheel no more.
No, I know, but is he ready is what you're saying. Like, I got it, but are you ready? Like, type shit. Like, before I let this motherfucker go, you got this. You know what I'm saying?
And that's really what it takes. That doesn't mean that it's not a team effort. That doesn't mean that it's not... I have constant income, so that's not a worry, but it's more than that. Are you going to be there emotionally? Are you going to be there through things like, like I said, I had a daughter that I lost. Is that something that you can withstand? Like, that all encompasses trust. So as a woman, if I know that you have that, then absolutely, I don't mind submitting. But for most of my life, I was taught, no, like, you always have a reserve. You should always... And I think now a lot of people have this misconception, like, I trust you, but not really. And so I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? You could do this, and that's true. But I think that society has made hookup culture and all these other things, everything is so readily available. So for me, long story short, is I definitely can see the traditional... being more of a traditional woman, because I feel like that's like, as women, that's accomplishing for us, right? Like, I love taking my son to sports. I love doing homework with him. I work from home, so that's a benefit, but I can imagine so much more that I could do, throughout my day, knowing that everything is taken care of and I'm good at home, There's this thing that I heard, I don't remember who, but it was like, the man is the head, but the woman's the neck. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you can turn him any which way.
I mean, take that how you want, take that. You know what I mean?
You can't have one without the other.
Exactly.
And they both play their different roles that's vital. The neck carry all the blood to the rest of the body.
Or as I used to say, men wear the pants, I pick them out.
Yeah, I don't know about anybody dressing me but myself, but yeah.
I'm just joking.
Nah, shit, I ain't even mad at you. Shit, you got, I get that, and see, I think like right now more than ever, the problem is that that's kind of a forgotten thing, and because it's not politically correct, I guess you want to call it that, to be in that situation. I feel like either way you live your life, if you're happy and you're functional and you're everything is is to the best of your ability. We all know life and shit happens, but it works for you. I think that's where you should, you should really be on.
But here's where I come with that, right? So the reason why I said you can't have it all is you can have a career, but there's something lacking. So you're gonna miss time. You're gonna miss moments.
Something. You can't.
It's always a sacrifice. Exactly,
yeah.
And that includes your relationship as well. Like you sacrifice. If you're a career woman, like don't get me wrong. I know I'm not. I walk that walk now, you know. But it's everything sacrifices time. I've missed games my son has had. I've had to be here. I had to be there. And I'm not saying don't have achievements. I'm not saying that at all. But it takes away. And so when I think about my son, I think about how much more time I could be putting into doing something educational with him, or, you know, I don't have a client, or we can go outside and we can play basketball, you know, doing certain things with him that I'm unable to do, because that's really, when you have kids, like that's the priority. That no matter what, they come first.
Always.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's like, how important is it? And then think about it, right? So you work at 9 to 5, you come home, you don't really feel like dealing with your kid. It's nothing they even did. You just dealt with people or did whatever all day long.
Burnt out.
Yeah. So like so now you're coming home and you're grouchy. So something is lagging, and then that goes into your partnership, and that goes into, you know, so many areas. So I just think that.
See, and when it comes to that, do you think that because of that, men should have we should have other privileges and shit that, what's it called? Because they're the ones that are doing basically all the sacrificing as far as not being there and not doing the nurturing and all this stuff. Because, I mean, that's not really, to me, and then this is just an opinion, like from people that I've heard and stuff saying that things that they, like, I've heard people kick out that shit where it was like, oh yeah, well, because a man does this and he pays for that and he pays for this, he pays for that, he takes care of everything, that he could be able to have another girlfriend, or he could be able to be doing some shit. You know, that's a fucking, it's actually something that people really like be saying, like a narrative they be pushing and shit. And I've heard quite a few people say that too.
I mean, at the end of the day, so then your relationship is transactional, because a man should provide and protect. And if you don't feel like that woman is worth you providing and protecting and coming home to her because you feel like why are you doing it? Facts. In reality, I feel like it's not you're not genuinely doing that, because I know, like, anything with your friends, I know, like, my best friend got me, I got him. So if it's not even a question of, oh, I spent this money, I bought you this, like, for me, like, don't be in a relationship then if that's how you feel, because you should be doing that if that's someone that you're with, then, and if they're providing the other side, because I'll tell you what, being a stay-at-home mom, being a parent, period, but a single mom and well, I guess you wouldn't be single, but a stay-at-home mom, that's a lot of work, especially if you're maintaining. Yeah, like, I feel like that's equally worth like a CEO of a company. Like, you really are running a business in your home, right? Everything got a routine. You're paying somehow, some way. I think that's crazy.
Your workers / kids,
right?
My ducklings, as I call them.
So look, no, I get that. Like I said, that's just something like people be saying, and I feel the same way, because I'm a big person on, don't do anything because you expect something in return for it. So if I do something for you, it's because I genuinely want to do it for you, whether I get anything out of it or not. That's not the point. The point is I'm doing this shit because, like, I was told, you know, simple shit, like, you know, a real friend is going to be the one that does what's best for you, not best for themselves, you know?
That's real.
You know, I was taught shit like that. So when I think of that as like, if it's throwing shit in each other's face and everything got a value or a price to it, then just don't do it. I don't want anything from anybody that expects anything from, because I don't feel like it's coming from a
place of love,
genuine place. Yeah, it's coming from because you expect something. And I was in a relationship like that, like, you know what I mean, real shit, like. And I wouldn't ask for these things. She was just showering me with gifts and shit. And it's just like, yo, I don't give a fuck about this shit. I mean, I appreciate it, but, you know, this is not making me feel it anymore. And I would even try to get his shit back. And it got to the point where it's like, fuck it, you ain't gonna listen, so.
But you know what though? Can I be real with you? that goes into a self-worth thing, right? Because if we think about it, I don't feel good enough to be with someone unless I'm getting you something.
And that's what I tell them. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
That's what you tell them. Like, come on.
So do you not feel like your company is good enough? Like, you feel like you got to come with something.
Exactly.
And that's like, I'm vibing with you for you, not because of what you do.
You don't have to pay for me to be here.
Yeah.
Right. But that goes into childhood trauma. That's deep.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, look, like, I don't, you know, you're good enough. That's why I used to be like, you're good enough. You don't need nothing. You're good enough as you are. Like, you know.
You're good enough.
You know,
I feel like that's that one thing. That like, you ain't the prettiest or
no, it's because a lot of times,
you know what I mean? Like, you're good enough, baby. Like,
no, I just mean like,
to me, I'd be like, oh,
what I mean by that is like, maybe I said it wrong.
You aight too.
Hey, you kind of good. You know what I'm saying? You'll do. You'll do.
Like, you're more than good enough, baby.
No, but that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Like you're more than good enough. Like, don't tell yourself that you're not good enough because you are. You know, don't. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I meant. Like, don't ever look at yourself in that way. You know what I mean? Like, fuck it. It is what it is. Take it how you want to. You know what I'm saying? And if y'all listening out there and you got offended, just know that you weren't good enough to get that joke. So you didn't get the story. You feel me? So, yeah. But no doubt. So we're gonna go ahead and move over here because I have a feeling that we're gonna get a totally different perspective.
I feel like I'm like thinking about what I think, and also I think that it's not very far off because I'm trying to think of my life, right? And you know my life, right? Like, it's pretty similar.
No one knows your life more than you do.
I'm looking at you, fool. You know my life pretty well. No.
I know enough, I
guess. I'm here all the time. No, I'm just putting my shit on blast. No,
trauma exposed. You know what I'm saying?
Burying myself. No, so, I think that I have like some traditional ideas and roles, but I also feel like I walk the line
between.
I don't even know what one would call it.
Ruling the house with an iron fist.
We're just gonna call it saucy or spicy or I don't know what's other.
Yeah, you're on your own with this one. You're gonna have to tell me.
No, listen. So help me real fast. So think about it. So there's traditional roles, and then what are other types of roles?
You know, like the 50-50 where, you know, both people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then you got the woman. She handles everything.
So I feel like there's been times in me and my
husband.
We've been through like we've been through it, right? Like, we've been together. We've been married like 10 years now, I think.
Oh, wow.
And so there were times when I had to work, and because he was sick or something, he couldn't. And I was the one who fucking did what I had to do, right? And there are times right now when I don't work, you know, and he's out there working every single day, but I'm like holding it down in the house. Like,
but do you think that's non-traditional?
No, I think that's traditional.
I think so too.
I think that's why I say I have a lot of traditional things. But then if like we really get into the deeps of it, like him and I also got some shit that are like also very non-traditional. That's like walking the line of saucy and spicy and things like this that I feel like a lot of people would not be okay with. You know what I mean? And I don't know. And so I feel like there's other roles that we play as well. Like him and I, like, we're able, like, God, he's so fucking sexy in the fact that, like, we could fill different roles at different times. Like, it's not always, like, he's always have to be on and be fucking top dog all the time. Like, I got your back, baby. Like, you were like, okay, so the last party that we had, I let him take as many shots as he fucking wanted. And I was the very last person awake till like goddamn 4 a.m. or something. And so I felt like I was the top dog of the house that day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I let my husband... looking after him. Yeah, and I was looking after him. I made sure nobody went into like the bathroom and anything, you know what I mean? Like, I made sure he was fine and stuff. But then there's days also where I'm vulnerable as fuck, and he takes over and he's the lead, and he, you know what I mean? And it is what the normal is,
so,
you know?
So that is, I don't think, when I say I'm not traditional, man, like, you don't need to be on it, like, because you also have to, you're an example of love, like, and, you know? So I agree with you there. Like, nobody wants, like...
to be on all the time.
Yeah,
right?
like, that's like, too, like, that's not...
I feel like relationships are, they're not 50-50. They're like... You have to be 90
meet
sometimes,
them where they
are.
I
mean? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to pick up for them when they're weak, or you
Absolutely.
have to they have to be able to pick up for you when you're weak, you know? And
mm-hmm.
like I don't know, it's kind of like a balancing act.
Absolutely.
It's always like this juggling act of like, okay, like, so like my husband will go to work, but then like he'll also make sure that the trash taken out for us, and like like there's like little things in the house that he'll do, and if he can't fucking do them, I'm not on his ass like, oh, you didn't take out the trash today. I do what the fuck needs to be done. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
because it's not a problem. Like, I don't know. Like, I think that like, but then I think there's other people who come into my house and be like, damn, you make your husband take out the trash. I don't make him do a goddamn thing, but my husband takes out the trash because he's a helpful like member of this household.
Because that's a form of love.
You know
that's
what
showing
I mean?
you love
like,
and respect and regard. Like, I could do this. It's not that, you know what I'm saying? So I think you're right. It's a balancing, like meeting that person halfway and really knowing like, all right, you only got 20% today, I got the 80. You know,
that's what I was gonna say. It's being in a traditional role, just because the man is the, you know, whatever his role is as far as primary person of the house and what his responsibilities are. You know, a real relationship to me is always gonna be that though. It has to be you know, where I'm slacking, pick up until I could get to my shit, you know, to where it needs to be, and vice versa. You know, I gotta be able to be there for you when you need me, and I gotta be able to you know, understand things that come along with, you know, who you are, and, you know, all the shit that, you know, the relationships go through.
But see, the thing is, and this is what I see in the modern culture, is things get rough, I'm gonna leave. It's not, we gonna stick this out. And I think there's obviously a fine line. If you're getting abused, that's, you know.
That's out, off top.
Right. So, but when you think about it, nobody is willing to stay through. You're not going to be happy all the time. I'm sure in your 10 years, I'm sure you've probably had a year, months maybe, where you weren't happy, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? But people now are just so quick to just abandon ship. Like, I'm not happy and there's something better out there, or whatever the case is. So I think it speaks so much volume that you've been married for 10 years, because I'm sure you can attest to there have been times where you weren't happy and he wasn't
Facts.
happy. You know,
sure.
and you're.
Oh yeah, I was in that kind of relationship. Like I said, it was a lot of insecurity. It was a lot of you know, trauma. You know, and the same thing. It was just like, you know, it's like, what are we doing at this point? It's like, it was almost to the point where it's like, it's like we're just being petty to each other, because we don't want to argue, so we're just gonna do petty shit. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's stupid. I don't know. You know, it got to be, to me, it you know, I'm more of a traditionalist too when it comes to that, the roles and stuff. But it's like, I don't know how, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't know how we're getting away from that now, and how it's being kind of looked at like you're a scumbag if you think like that. Like why?
That's what everybody's pushing.
No, well, no shit.
That agenda of women are just there for a bag and having sex, and then that's it, right?
Yeah, their value is their value is not in the things that really are worth something. They're in the, you know, what she could once again, what transactional, what she could provide, how she looked like. Well, I mean, yeah, that's the whole role now. It's just different. People are trying to kind of like demonize traditional roles, when it's like, I'm like, yo, however you live your life, as long as you at peace, you're not being too sensitive, and you're understanding that if you live an alternate lifestyle that a lot of people are not going to understand, that just comes with the territory, you know. But either way, you got to be able to say, you got to be tougher, period. You got to be tougher in this world. I really feel it's like you said, the shit they be pushing and just making everything just really, I'm all about respect. So first and foremost, there got to be respect with everybody, period. But also on top of that, we can't dance around shit and call it something else to spare anybody's feelings. We're not addressing the issue when you do that. What you're doing is trying to like put a Band-Aid over it. You know, it's not gonna last. It's not something, you know, you putting, like they say, putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. You feel me? So it's not a real sustainable way. And I don't know what the agenda is, if there's any, or if people are just that dumb. We've watched these shows about the social media thing, and I definitely think that now with anybody and everybody being able to have a voice, and, you know, everybody doesn't say, people, the way I look at it is, when it comes to internet, social media, people will purposely say some foul shit just to get the attention for it. So
totally, they'll do the stupidest shit just to get attention, like, because any attention, it's like if you think back in school and how there'd be like the class clown or something, always doing some bullshit, interrupting the class, just trying to get attention. It's the same shit on social media, but now there's
times
like,
10.
Yeah,
Anybody
times a
in their
million.
room.
Like
times billions.
like everybody's class is watching.
It's competition, baby.
Do you know how mad I get when I will click a video because I'm like, oh, it looks like a food something, and they're just pouring icing or something just on top of it and you're like, well, when's the end? I'm like, people do this for clickbait. Like it's crazy. People do anything. It's wild.
Yeah, it's to that point though, but goes back to what we were saying. You know, everything comes full circle. When it comes to that, it's like you gotta use it for what it's worth. Take it with a grain of salt. You know, you can't dive off the deep end every time you hear something or you get offended, because at the end of the day, you're gonna probably be more upset than anybody who you're trying to interrupt doing what they're doing. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? You're gonna end up with the most stress and strain. You know, I'm all about understanding. You know, if I don't understand something, explain it to me. You know, I'm all about respect. I respect everybody as long as they respect me. I'm all about don't put your hands on me unless you want me to put my hands on you. You know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna hit you, but don't hit me. Though. You know what I'm saying? And you know, at the same time, now depending on what kind of hit you want me to hit you though, you know, too though. So maybe you want me to hit you, but just let me know first. You know. But at the end of the day, I'm very much on the traditional shit. I don't mind how people would choose to live their life, like I said, but don't make it seem like we're crazy for believing this shit, or it's like it's wrong, like it's bad. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just what it is. It's a preference.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, so one of the feedbacks that we got for the podcast that you know, me and my brother do is that they wanted to hear the insight from like a straight couple who, you know, we talk with and follow along with. And my brother was kind of like, a straight couple, because he's like gay as fuck. And I was like, he's like, how do you feel about that? And I was like, well, I kind of feel like straight or a gay or a like bisexual or a pansexual. It doesn't matter the orientation.
You guys are about relationships.
It's about relationships are relationships, right? Like, so like no matter what you're like, people are gonna be able to vibe. They should be able to vibe with it, because a relationship is a relationship. Like it all is like, you know, sometimes we're doing it the same ways and things. You know what I mean? Like like meeting people the same ways or having the same issues in relationship. Like gay people are still having the same issues that straight people are having. Like there's not
the world is the world regardless. We just all standing in different, you know, shoes and different perspectives and shit. The world, we're all dealing with a lot of shit, a lot of, you know, like I said, everything we were talking about when it came to the social media in general, and you know, the attack on just anything really. Like social media is fucking weird because it's anywhere you could get somebody. You could just say some, like I said, some absolute bullshit phony and get everybody pumped up about it, and then you know, and just cause a whole fucking shitstorm. And it's really for money. Honestly, I really think that the you know, because they say that like you know, if you go to these other countries, their Instagram and their TikToks and all that shit, they play different shit. In America, they pump certain shit, negative shit. They celebrate more achievements in other places like China and other than they show
ass and tits on our end over here.
Yeah, they do. All distractions. Really, at the end of the day, what it is out here is to distract you. And that's what they're pumping. They pump these different types of, because, you know, the algorithm, you know, they program it, okay, we want you for this area. We want you to push this. You know, so, you know, at any given time, you could be bombarded with some shit that you probably don't fuck with, period. You know, and it's just, and I want everybody to understand it's the same thing with TV and back in the day. It's called programming, because the radio used to play the same fucking songs. They played them so much that you started liking these fucking songs. Sometimes you probably do like them. And
there's
sometimes
songs that you don't even like when they first come out, like that Pharrell, I'm Happy. I hated it when it first came out, and now I find myself just singing it in my head.
It's because
it's been played so many times.
And it reminds you, and this nostalgia reminds you of a point in time in your life that you reminisce about and have fond memories of, or maybe not so fond. Right so that's some serial killer shit, by the way.
There's
like,
a fucking party always going in here. Like, and right now, that's what song's been playing. Swear to God, no lie.
When you meditate, can you fucking tune that shit out?
I can't meditate. I don't know how to meditate, okay? Can anybody teach me? Swear to God.
Because you can't tune everything out, yeah.
No,
that's the hardest part. You gotta. That's the whole point of once you could do that. That's you reached your goal basically, where you could tune everything the fuck out and just lock in silence for you by yourself. Then yeah, but I mean, also you got kids, so I'm just asking, you know.
Yeah. That's why I'm telling you.
You
like,
got a damn near
earlier,
escape to go
like,
do some shit like that.
stuff
Yeah,
like that, like,
get some peace and quiet.
I want to go
beautiful.
out. Like my ideal is to go out into the like hiking somewhere, right? Like where I go and just be able to be lost out there for hours and not have to be back at any certain time. But because I am a mom, I cannot just be gone for hours at a time like that.
Nobody
like,
could reach you out and shit.
Yeah, I need to be reachable,
Show ass
bro.
beat.
Like, I don't know. I've tried. I mean, I do sometimes, but very rarely do I get to go just for 5 hours at a time and be gone. Like, and so I feel like, I don't know, like, that's what I really want to goddamn do. But I know so everybody has their day.
Being that pretty much you're traditional and she's traditional too when it comes to that sense, because I know you said it before that you appreciate that you're actually able to be there for every moment and every every milestone for the kids and stuff.
I heard you say something about and maybe I was wrong, but it hella threw me off for a second. But I heard you say something like, so because a guy goes to work and makes these sacrifices. Sorry, am I wrong? So that he should have a girlfriend on the side or something because he makes these sacrifices. Did you say something like that, or am I crazy?
Well, that's like.
What were you saying?
That's like I don't know how you say it, a theory or whatever people say, because of this. There's people that believe that shit, is what I'm saying.
Because I was like, oh, the sacrifices that he makes, and maybe I'm a little bit bitter right now, and I'm not too bitter because I am able to express openly with my husband how I feel and shit about things, but it definitely makes me feel some type of way sometimes when he'll be like, oh yeah, I just got off school, I'm gonna go do this and do that, and then I'll be home, and I'm just like, okay, cool, like, I ain't been sitting here all day, like, no fucking big deal, right? Like, and so it's like the sacrifices that I make too, you know what I mean? Not being able to just go to AutoZone after school or something,
no
you
doubt.
know what I mean? And so I feel like...
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Keep going. You feel like... It's like, don't feel bad, shit, this is what we do.
I feel like there's sacrifices all around the board that motherfuckers have to make, right? Like... he has to make the sacrifices of not being able to see the kids all day and not being able to see the cute ass things that they do and being able to kick it a little bit, because I ain't gonna lie, it ain't like all fucking work all day. I do get to kick it, you know, and work at my own leisure and fucking whatever, you know.
Got your routine and everything.
I definitely got my routine, right? But it's definitely not like all sunshine and giggles, right? Where it's like, it's not for the faint of heart. It's like, let him stay home for a few hours and he's calling me like, when the fuck you gonna be back home or something, you know? Like, it is a tough job.
It's definitely a sacrifice on both sides.
Tough job. Like, but I feel like the difference for me is that, like, given the chance, I could be like, yeah, baby, I'll go to your job for the day and I'll do your job, right? And I can do his job maybe. Yeah. But can he stay home and do my job? I don't know.
That's the question. Well, I mean, because, and see, that's where I was saying, like, both sides sacrifice. It's not like only the man sacrifices, the woman does too. That's why I didn't buy into that, because to me, the relationship should be balanced. You know, if somebody could take the lead and still be balanced. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They could still be like, this is my part, you know, of what I do.
It's almost even helpful for somebody to take the lead too, you know what I mean? Or even to take turns.
Well,
taking the lead, right?
That's like how your relationship in this is, that works for you guys. You guys, you know, depending on the situation and time and what's needed, who steps up. And even in the grand scheme of things, like you said, when he got sick, you know, a good woman is going to step up when, you know, times are tough, if, you know, her better half isn't able to. Yeah. And that's kind of the balance. You know, you contribute as much as he does, you know, just in different ways. You know, monetary is very important because this world is how it works, but that's not the only thing.
I agree.
So it's a lot more layers to it. It's dope. We're going to take a quick break. It's the Know Vibe Podcast, episode 122, season 4. The process.
Get the fuck out of here.
And we're back. Know Vibe Podcast, episode 122. Smoking doinks. You know, big doinks. You know, we had to keep it moving for a second, so it's just me and Hot Momma right now. Britt's going to join us back in a second. She's going to hit us with that new segment that we're looking forward to. So looking forward to that. Shout out to Britt, you know, a valued friend of the podcast and an affiliate. You dig? So now we got Hot Momma back, and I'm going to keep it funky with you. Like, I was saying it off tape, which we got to stop turning the fucking mics off. Like we said, we had like at least a good 5 minutes of dialogue on some fly shit. Earlier you were talking about like you feel like you are a traditional role with your relationship, and then you're not because you kind of toe the spicy line. And you know, we're gonna need a little clarification on that, because I feel like there was a lot more to that than most people, the average Joe, wouldn't understand. So what is this line that you be toting? Towing, whatever, you know, it's all the same. Toting.
It's a new thing. I feel like that a lot of people are trying, right? And I don't want to call it one thing or the next, but the way that my husband and I do address it is that we're open, right? And so there's a lot of relationships now that are like polyamorous or things like that. Have you heard before, right? Okay, yeah. So it's just kind of like, if you haven't heard, like more than one, so to say, you know, like in the relationship. And so that's where we toe the not so traditional line, because we keep it spicy. Like, I don't want to say that we're swingers, because it's not like we go to parties and swing,
do
you know,
the upside down pineapple and all this shit that they were talking about.
You know, like heck of like symbolism or whatever, you know, like it's real like that or whatever. But like, we're just open to the possibilities and like the relationships, and like,
so it's an open relationship.
It's an open relationship, you know, and so we have our traditional roles and our
values,
you know, and our values, and like what we want for our kids and like what we want them to learn and things. But like, I think that like this new life, because we haven't always been like this, you know, like we've been married for 10 years, I think I mentioned, but like we've been open for probably like 5-ish, I'd say. And so like about half, I guess, like we've been together for a while, but anywho, so like our marriage, we've been like open for like about half of it, you know, and it's pretty fucking awesome. Like, it's pretty fucking awesome being able to just like, I don't know, have our own things, or our together things, or like, and I really just mean like sexual kind of relationships, really, like not like anything, like we're never having anybody like live with us, right? Like
the second wife.
Yeah.
This
I don't know. I definitely don't know if I'm totally closed off to that idea though. Like
all she's there for is to throw the BJs when you don't want to. Like, hey, throw them a BJ.
No, definitely. Like,
that's kind of fire.
I mean, tonight, can you take over tag team? Like, man. You gotta give it your all.
Put her in, coach. You know what I'm saying?
No, but I'm just saying. So it's just kind of like, I feel like with this, it's really
gotta give it the old college try. You feel me?
I mean, I did graduate.
That's right. You were ahead of your class. I'm assuming
with honors.
Exactly.
Of course.
A lot of knowledge. Anyways, proceed.
It just comes with like a lot of like a new territory, okay? Because our kids are still young. Mm-hmm. So then what's going to happen when they get older and they start like asking questions? That's like new territory. Like, that's not traditional values or traditional roles anymore, right?
But do you think that you could do it without them catching on? Like, it's just adult things that they don't really need to know? Like, or
I mean, sure, but I mean, there's going to become a time when they know that I'm not just going over to a friend's house to have a spa day.
No, I mean, yeah.
I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, how, I don't know, like, how, like, obviously when they're this young, they don't know about sexuality and things like that. But, like, when they get to be older, I don't know.
So that's definitely something eventually you guys would have a talk about, right?
I feel that way. I don't know if my significant other feels that way. I feel like, I don't know, like, I don't know, and that's definitely a thing that's interesting because it's uncharted territory.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just trying to understand how you would maneuver around that.
I don't know. Like, because I would never have relations, like, where they would be, like, able to know, you know what I mean? But, like...
well, that's what I'm saying, is, like...
So, like, why would it be... you know, significant to them. But then I also want it to be significant to them too, because I don't want them to think that they have to just stick with one person like how he and I do, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want them going to school and being like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to limit myself to this one person. You know, I want them to know that there's open possibilities of love, you know, and it doesn't have to just be one fucking avenue. Or like, what, I don't know. And so it's just kind of, I don't know how I want to give it to my kids. It's going to be interesting. Yeah.
I mean, shit. I mean, it's just a different thing. I have never been in that kind of situation. I've never had a relationship like that. So I couldn't tell you how I would, feel about it. It would have to definitely be something that's, I guess it would have to be just like you said, just mutual, where both of y'all agree and that, it's cool and it's respectful, and you guys just do it and have fun and do what you do.
Yeah, I feel like right now it's so new, you know what I mean, still, that it's just like, and I've never ever been in a relationship like this before, and so it's just kind of like really new, like everything, just like being able to communicate and having the uttermost communication, because otherwise it's not gonna work. Like, I don't know, that's like, it's like gotta learn that. That was hard lesson song.
Yeah, communication is key in any relationship, period. You know what I mean?
Especially when you're fucking other people.
That's definitely, I'm assuming that's true. Communication is key. Communication rules the nation.
But yeah, so that's how I toe the saucy, right? Like,
it makes sense.
We're still normal. We still are regular people. We still, have like our,
just
day-to-day
believe, you don't
life
believe in
and
the
stuff.
construct of like
we're just
biblical relationships, because that's like, that's kind of where that traditional, as far as like loving one person and only one person type thing came from. Was actually that, I think it was biblical. It was like it's a Christian belief, and other societies practice that and other societies don't. You can't quote me on which one. I'm just saying there is out there, and don't tell me that there's not.
Polygamy off top, I know, right? That's where the guy has multiple wives. I'm trying to hook up with all the wives.
Sister, you're that wife, huh?
I'm gonna be that wife. Like, go ahead, baby, you can leave. To make sure everybody's taken care of.
Terrible, but I mean,
no, I don't know. Like, it's like things like asking my mom to babysit so that way Tim and I can go on separate dates. She'll be like, well, what are you guys gonna do? Oh, well, I'm doing this and Tim's doing that. And she's just like, oh, okay. Can we normalize that, please? Like,
I think that's what you're doing as you have that open dialogue and that communication with people. They start, because like I said, I don't judge. And I've never personally been in a relationship like that. So anything that you say about it is like, I know what you'd say, like I'm learning from you basically. So, but I know a lot of people that are in open relationships and it works for them and all that shit. Me, I'm like, nah, I ain't having it. If you want to go over there, then.
Go over there, then.
That's where you want to be at. Go there.
I've definitely had those conversations.
But I'm immature, though.
You know what I mean? Like, with my husband, where I'm like, he is the most important to me thing. Like, to me, like, what we got is the most important out of, like, anything I've ever had in my life. And so, for me to be like, it's either you, like, it's either us doing what we're doing or, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I wouldn't, like, I would choose up, and by choosing up, I would choose my husband, right? Like, off top.
No, yeah,
like,
what you're saying is you don't think that you would want to make that an option for a reason for you guys not to be together, because you guys could, wanted to do this, like, it's not enough of a deal breaker for you to be like, I'm breaking up my family and everything.
No,
I get that. I get like your family's worth more, So yeah.
But I mean, it's also like a great pleasant, and like, and when we do have those tough moments and stuff, I'll be like, well, don't you want to get your dick sucked by someone else? Like, so why are you fucking like mad at me right now? Like, can we keep it real?
Is this actual dialogue? Is this how we communicate? Because
this is how I communicate. I'm blunt as fuck. I can't help it. I can't help it. I really can't. Like, it's really ridiculous the way I be speaking. I can't believe he's still with me.
I mean, shit, but it's honest. You got at the end of the day, you want to feel like the person you're with is being honest with you. Better or worse. And we all gas each other up a little bit, because we always got to make sure we build each other up. But at the same time, it's like, I want that honesty. Don't let me walk around with a booger in my nose and you're so right? You're so worried about how I might feel for you telling me that, instead of worried about me walking around looking crazy with you with a big ass dangler hanging out my nose. You got me fucked up.
For sure. Like,
I think that's a form of love right there, is when you could be honest with a person and tell them something's wrong with them, or wipe your fucking face, or look them dead in their eyes and be like, you're fucking wrong and stupid and you shouldn't be doing that. Like, you know what I mean? That's a love art right there. That's a what do you call that?
A love language.
A love language. That's in itself real shit.
That brutal honesty. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
just
is.
Just know that I care, and I'll beat your fucking ass. But not in a good way.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure I say that before they run with that and try to say I'm saying some other shit. You know? Nah, we don't do that. I mean, I'm not gonna hit you unless you want me to hit you.
You've already said that, right? Like,
exactly, totally, full circle moment. You see that?
Yeah.
See that? And that's not scripted. That's just off the top, you know. So
that's just life.
You know, exactly.
That's just real life.
Understand this. You know, sometimes there's a little choking and slapping going on, but it's all consensual and it's not. It's totally. You know what I mean? It's okay. It ain't too hard.
No comment. No, it's kidding. I'm like, how did when Vincent and I recorded something, he said something like not hard enough to call the cops or something like that. He was like, he had a line. I was like, damn, my husband be having these lines just one time every now. I'm gonna have to listen to it again because he was like, you hit him hard, but just not hard enough for the cops to be called. I'm like, get out of here.
That's
like,
ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm done with him. Anyway, no.
That's crazy. But yeah, hey, so we're gonna keep it moving. You know, we're gonna go ahead and take another break. Bang, you know what it is. We back. No Invite Podcast Season 4, The Process. And, you know, we got Hot Momma, of course. And we also got Britt, our resident therapist and mental health specialist. She's in the building today. And today we're going to do something that we've been trying to put together for a while now. Mm-hmm. We've been said it, and now it's going to happen. We're going to go ahead and do the ABC game with Britt. This is Therapize Me with Britt. And we're going to talk about what does today's word start with? What letter does today's word start with, everybody?
It's going to be A for accountability.
A for damn accountability. That sounds like I'm in trouble already. But,
I know, we're in school.
Yeah, I know.
Get your notebook out right now.
So go on ahead and break it down for me, though. What's accountability mean?
So accountability to me is holding yourself responsible for your actions, for what you say, for you in general, just having accountability for what you have going on. A lot of times people want to blame everybody for other circumstances or for why they are going through this, when in reality, you know, we only have control over ourselves and over what we do and how we respond or how we react or how we don't. So I think for accountability, it is holding yourself accountable. So what about you? What do you think as Hot Momma? Ooh,
what does it mean to you, Hot Momma? It's all right.
It's cool. You can say my name all day. No, I was kidding.
Just say it right. That's what she
like,
wants
what
to
was
do.
Ether? No, I was kidding.
Let a little sauce roll off when she says it.
I'm joking. Okay, so accountability for me, I feel like it makes me think of like the word account and how it holds something like a value, right? Like, and so like it being accountable for me means when I say I'm going to do something that I do it, or if I don't follow through, I don't know, like that I'm able to say something, like be able to like stand up for what I've done or what I haven't done, or I don't know, just kind of to be accountable, to be a woman of your word is like what I think of a lot for sure as far as accountability. Like with my relationship, being in like the open dynamic that I am, like we have to be like really accountable with each other, you know, and like if we say we're gonna do something or if we're not gonna do something, then like if that accountability gets broken down and like broken, you know, time after time, like really what's your account worth? Your accounting like worth shit, you know? Like so you gotta fucking like, I don't know, I think of accountability like just as that account, you know, like you want it to have value, you want it to be rich, like I don't know.
Makes sense to me. It's which how you interpret it, you know. I mean, it is what it is. It's a fact. There's accountability is a certain thing, but you know, also we all have different ways of looking at it. I would say, same thing for me. It's just not making excuses. You know, don't make an excuse for why certain things happen. Usually, a lot of times there's a reason, and especially when it comes to us and our actions and what we do, it's usually, you know, comes from our actions and what we do. You know, so to me, just being accountable is knowing how to admit when you're wrong. You know, when you made a mistake, knowing how to apologize, but also knowing how to stand on it. And when you say something, you know, believe that, and you know it's true, then to be able to stand on it and be accountable. Like, yo, I know what I said. It may not be the popular thing, or it may not be what you agree with, but this is what I believe, and I'm going to stand on it whether anybody else agrees with me or not. You know, I think that's part of accountability, because if you said something and then, you know, like you were saying, your word, gave somebody my word, and then you go back on it, then well, how do you know, then what are you making an excuse? You know, are you saying, no, I just didn't do it because I didn't feel like it? Like, how are you dealing with the issue to me? So I think that's a lot to me about accountability. It's like, you know, everybody makes mistakes. I'm gonna make mistakes, and if I wrong somebody and I have the opportunity to, I apologize to them, you know. But also, I'm gonna stand on what I say. Period. I don't know no other way to say it. That's why I love the podcast, because I you know, at any given time, you know, they could try to slander us and cancel us or whatever they call it, but that shit don't mean nothing to me. I don't give a fuck. As long as I got the handful of y'all listening out there, we're gonna be okay. And if y'all are gone, then fuck y'all then, and it's whatever. I'll still keep doing this shit.
I was kind of getting accountability mistaken with consistency too, because I was thinking like, oh, accountability, like something that like you're gonna do, you know, like I was thinking as far as working out, right? Like I thought about for a moment, like I wish I was more accountable, you know. And it's not that I want to be more like accountable, it's like I wanted to be consistent, I think, you know. And so, but I think that they kind of like are along the same lines. They're like around the same area, you know, like consistency and
I think the fact that you're
like,
telling yourself that, and you're reminding yourself like you need to do better,
yeah.
That's holding yourself accountable to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Because you're like, yo, all right, I missed this fucking day at the gym. I need to go harder, or I need to make sure that I stay consistent at what I'm doing, because. And
then that's being accountable for my consistency, right?
Correct.
That's really dope for sure. I think, like, I don't know.
Yeah, that. Why do you think that this issue is so important nowadays? I mean, just bringing it up, because I know you brought it up for a reason. There got to be some.
Well, I think we kind of all reach a point in our lives, right, where we reflect, like we're all in our 30s. Ish. Right? Okay, 30. We're 30 and up. We're 30 and up. We're 30 and up, right?
We're grown.
And exactly. I think we start, I don't know, I feel like we're at this age in this mindset of like, well, what has happened?
Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine. It was his face.
No, that was my face. She
I'm in trouble. I was kidding.
Yeah, she knows
accountability. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding.
I'm here to hold you accountable. Podcast accountable.
Where it's more like reflective in a lot of ways, and you start thinking about it. And you know, as I have clients and I listen to other people, I always think of past traumas and how you hold yourself accountable for past traumas and things that you aren't even responsible that happened to you. How do you kind of address those moments in life, right? You have people that maybe have hurt you and you're not talking, or there's a situation that's happened and all you're wanting them to do is hold themselves accountable. How do you interact with people, or how do you go about dealing with past traumas and accountability? Because it's easy now to say I'm accountable for not going to the gym, but what about the things that are past the surface and we're really still dealing with, you know? So it's just been kind of this theme, and just holding yourself to what you say you're going to do what you say what you do. There's a famous quote that I love by Les Brown. I think he said it. And he talks about how you do anything is how you do everything. So how you do anything in your life is really how. So if you've
mentioned that before,
yes,
that stuck with me. I was like, seriously though,
it really,
like
right?
Do it right.
I'm like, yeah.
Because then you have to think like, okay, so if I'm only doing this halfway, if I'm only giving this 50%, I do it often where I'm like, okay, I'm giving this 50%. Let me look at the rest of my life really quick, and then I go into this whole moment. But you know, it really is a true testament on how you handle business and how you conduct yourself, and it's a trait, right? Accountability is something I think that can be virtuous in a lot of ways, and it does go with consistency. That also goes with honesty. You know, it all stems out from that one word. It's like an umbrella word to so many different areas that we need to probably improve on, you know?
Definitely, especially I'm gonna go ahead and say it now, and how things are social media wise. You don't see a lot of that, you know. You see a lot of the opposite. People I don't know, it's just I'm a very observant person, so it's like it's some people that show entirely too much on social media. So you kind of get an idea of how they're living and stuff and everything. And the one thing that I see that lacks, it's always complain about something, but it's like, where's the accountability for yourself? Like, I mean, and it starts with, first, whatever your problem is that's got you feeling like this, you need to address that somewhere and not on social media.
I agree.
Because you don't need to have everybody in your fucking business. It's not good for you, and it's not. And if you're waiting for the approval from that ghost, then you're gonna be fucked up for a long time. So it starts with that. We all got traumas, you know. Your boy's kind of fucked up too, you know what I mean? We've been through some shit, but I think that you definitely have to be there for yourself first. You got to be able to tell yourself, like, check your own self, you know, and that's just you know a funny or an easy way of saying it, a simple way of saying it. You know, you got to check yourself and make sure that you putting yourself in the right position, the right frame of mind. It's like you can't. I don't know. I there's a lot of people, and we know some of the similar people we grew up with right now. There's trapped in the early 2000s, and they will not leave there, and they are living super dysfunctional as hell, and you wish them the best, but it's like, I can't make you do anything. You know, you have to want to do this shit. You dig what I'm saying? So it's deep when it comes to that, but accountability, it starts first with that. I teach my son the same shit. All the mistakes that I made when I was a kid, I tell him, I was like, this ain't nothing that I glorified to you. I'm not running around talking about this shit like it's cool. It's not fucking cool. He's seen firsthand all the trauma and all the bullshit that me being away caused for our family, you know. So, and he had to live through it personally. So I never once, I always try to tell him that. And I think that with teenagers and young adults, it's kind of a little, it's mixed with you telling them they're tired of hearing you say it, and now they kind of got to go find out for themselves type shit. And I'm not going to stop saying it until I feel like, well, I will eventually, because I don't want to, at the same time, I don't want to be like the nagging dad, like, bro, I want to make sure, you know what I'm saying? I just try to put him in a better situation. But the thing I stress to him the most is just be accountable. If you mess up, apologize, try to correct it, and let's go, you know?
Do you feel like his decisions you're accountable for?
I don't feel like I'm accountable for his decisions, because he's definitely his own kid. He's nothing like how I was. So I feel like he makes good decisions based on like how I raised him. But at the same time, he's his own person, and I try to let him be that. I just, when it comes to, learning of a lesson, for instance, something happens, or some shit whatever I'm dealing with that happens as far as that, like, because of my record or whatever, and I got to address it. And I try to make anything like a learning situation impossible. So if I make a mistake, I try to, like, if I apologize to you, I kind of also want to show you, by showing you that I'm not going to do that shit again. You know what I mean? So just shit like that. But I don't feel accountable for his actions. He's his own person. I just want what every parent wants, is for them to make good decisions, Right. And being that also, I told him, I was like, yo, I was your age, I ain't have none of the stuff that I have right now, and I know we ain't got it all. I was like, but you got a car at 20, didn't have that. You finished school, you got a job. I wasn't doing none of that shit. I was out fucking around and doing too much and setting myself behind, living the lifestyle I was living. And he gets it for the most part. He's, like I said, he's in way better shape than I was at that age. He's, he's taking care of business. He's ahead of where I was at that time in life. So, and being happy, I'm glad that he's happy and he's healthy, so.
I feel like that's all that we could really want for our children, right? Yeah. Like, I don't think that until I became a parent, did I take accountability for my actions as a teenager or as a young adult, or I guess a young adult I was pretty chill, but as a teenager I was definitely out of pocket, like, definitely. And not until I became a parent did I actually apologize to my mom, and be like, hey, I'm sorry that I did so much fucked up things. Yeah. You definitely didn't deserve that. You were already trying as hard as you can, and here I am making it hella harder for you. That's not right. And so I feel like it's being accountable for that trauma in the past, or being accountable for my trouble in the past and things like that. And then how it kind of, maybe how your son, you tell him these things right now, but maybe he won't really recognize it until one day when he becomes a parent or is in a relationship or is further on in his Goddamn, this thing is so close. I keep on hitting it.
It's all right.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I wonder if you'll be able to
by
hear
my
it.
super bars at editing, don't trip. They'll never hear it.
Just put myself on blast.
Go ahead, though.
Usually do. But yeah, and maybe when he gets to be older is when he'll really be able to understand accountability or like what it entails, you know. And I feel like everybody has their journey because even though I'm able to take accountability for my life and my actions and my behaviors and the things that I do, right? Like, that doesn't mean that everybody that I fuck with is taking accountability, right? For, like, their actions and what they do and stuff. And, like, you could tell somebody till you're fucking blue in the face, right? But it's totally up to them to be like, oh, yeah, you know, like, that was my fault, too. Like, I can't just go blaming my fucking problems on somebody else. Like, I don't know. Some people... kill me, you know what I mean? Like, but it's okay because everybody has their journey for sure, right? Like, I'm not over here trying to be like, push it, like, no, you need to take accountability for your life. You can't blame this on somebody else because you're feeling this way, you know? Like, I don't know. And I think I could just be that friend that models, right? Like, these things, and then people could pick it up if they want to, or ask questions, or listen to the podcast, right, and learn about it.
Get some therapizing.
But if it directly affects you, so if it's a situation that I'm just curious, if it directly affects you and it does still hurt, there's still that wound there. Do you change how you interact with that person, or are you
if it directly affected me, for sure, I would put a hell of a lot more energy into it. But because it don't, and I'm just a good friend that listens to some fucking bullshit on the side, like, just trying to help other motherfuckers out.
I feel you.
Yeah. You're not trying to push your shit on nobody. You just...
No, because I'm too grown for that type of bullshit. I'm not intimately fucking with anybody who can't take accountability for their life, right? Or who don't have this umbrella around them that like falls under the values and things that align with me, because otherwise it just gets kind of like
messy.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that. And I hate to say it, it's not that I turn my nose up at nobody, but there's a reason why you don't see me hanging out with people that, you know, are still living their lifestyle a certain way. You know, or still don't get it. It's like, bro, you're my age. How are you still living like how we were when we were 15? You know, and I don't judge people. I don't look at them like, you know, looking any less or anything of them. But what I do know is that right now, me trying to get where I'm trying to go, and if I stop and go backwards and start trying to be around folks that ain't really for themselves ready to change or do anything, then I can't help you. Maybe later on down the road I get better off, because that's what I want to do. Whatever I do as far as business wise, I always want to make sure that I put back into the community, especially the one I came from. So maybe I can help you later on down the line. But right now, if you're not in the same frame of mind, and that's just bettering yourself, taking care of your family, you know, aspiring to have ownership of things for yourself and to secure, you know, wealth for your family, then I just can't be on that same page with you, you know. And it's nothing towards anybody. We all live our life how we see fit, I guess. But, you know, right now I've been around all that, and I've been around people that were real negative and didn't have the same goals, or at least the same vision to at least be good to their own family members and try to do things. And I seen where it got me, you know. It got me into problems. It got jealousy started, because a lot of times too, people will see that you're trying to be a better person, or you're trying to think differently, you're trying to move differently. And since they don't want to hold themselves accountable for how they're living their life, they're looking at you differently. You know, they're looking away at you like, man, like, fuck this dude, you know, because to them it seems like you got it all figured out. When in reality, we're one fucking thread away from, you know, falling apart, but we're still holding that shit together like a fucking champ. But you know what I mean? I'm making jokes, but, you know, like we're so much, you know, dealing with our shit too. It just looks like that to the person that has no drive for themselves or no accountability, and is always looking for excuse why their life ain't how it should be. It's like, we're all struggling out here, bro. You know, we're just on different levels. You know, there's only so much I will tolerate. We all have standards for ourselves, you know, our bare minimum standards and our higher standards and shit like that. But yeah, I can't. I agree with you. I can't do it. You know, a lot of people, they don't have no accountability, straight up. There's no way around that. It's like, bro, you live out here. They can't even hire people. They can't hire enough people to fill every job that's out there right now. And you should not be complaining about nothing if you're not working, you know, for yourself. And if you want to live like, you know, you don't want to work to take care of yourself, you want to do whatever you do, you know, but, you know, it should be no reason why you have any hate for anybody that's doing out there, doing for themselves and doing better, that's trying to have a normal life, give their kids a better life than they had. There's no reason why you should look at them any kind of other way than just to be an example. You know, I'm not out here trying to shit on people. I could. You know, this is the 4th season. We said we was going to talk that shit, be real cocky, you know what I mean? But I choose to reserve that for when I need to, because also, yeah, I might take it a little overboard. Go ahead.
Did you or no?
No, I'm listening because I'm curious because I guess I'm trying to figure out how to word this because like you gave me so much information right now and I'm like processing it. I'm all breaking it down because you're right. But circumstances also play a part too. Not everybody has certain access to things. So holding yourself accountable, to what extent is it in your life personally where you feel like, okay, I'm not completely solely accountable for this happening like this or this happening like that. So at what point do you make that decision of, or when do you realize you're not holding yourself accountable, or when like I'm trying to figure out how to word this.
Well, some people like a break, like a kind of like a breakthrough moment where you're
just
like
when do you realize like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I need to look at myself really quick. Like, what point do you realize that? When is that?
For me, it started when I found out I was gonna have a son, but I wasn't fully changed yet. I was just like still playing around and fucking around in the streets and doing all kinds of shit, right? So it wasn't until my 2nd prison term that I was like, you know what, this is not it. This fucking sucks, you know. And after that I was like, fuck that shit. I ain't never going back type mentality, you know. So, you know, I'm not trying to jinx nothing and shit like that. But the way I look at it is that I had to change my mentality in order to assure that I wasn't going back. You know, to make sure that I wasn't going to be an option. Because like I said, to me, leaving my son, that hurt me. You feel what I'm saying? And I didn't do that shit by choice, and I didn't want it to be that way. But at the same time, I wasn't taking accountability for the fact that what I was doing was going to end up taking me away from him, whether I wanted to or not. You know, and that's what happened. So when that happened again, like the whole time I think out of his 20 years right now, I was incarcerated for like 8 or 9. So, you know, I missed all the you know, the little toddler years and up and stuff like that. So to like once that happened, that was kind of my push me to the limit where like something got to change type shit, you know, because it's just back to back. I kept going back to back to back. I was never at home. So that's what happened. And I kind of hear the same thing with you. You said once you had your daughter, you just changed the way you were, you know, you started having more accountability for how you were and things like that. So, I mean, everybody does have their moments. Some people don't need that, but it's you know, there's a lot of trauma that people go through, so they got a lot of demons they're fighting with and shit, but
I feel like there's maybe different forms of accountability that you could take
for sure.
in your life too, right? Like, because maybe there was forms of accountability that I took when I had my daughter that like I was apologetic towards my mom for, but there's been like mistakes that I've made in my relationship too that like made me be more accountable, so that way like it would be better too, right? Like, and so I feel like there's different forms of accountability. I don't know, like, or maybe you have different forms of accountability for different aspects of your life or something. I don't know, like, because like I don't know, that was another thing that I felt like happened too, is like I made like a pretty big mistake and I was like, how to own up to it, you know, like I can't like keep on lying about like something. Like there comes a point, and I think that was like my aha moment where I'm like, okay, check it out, Hot Momma.
It's time for you to step
like,
up.
It's like how long are you gonna keep on this charade, you know? And then it's like you got to be accountable, and you gotta like own up to what you did, and then be like, are you gonna keep on moving like that, or are you gonna fucking move differently? Because if you are gonna move like that still, then fucking say it with your chest, like. And I'm not ever since then, but I feel like I've been like a big like say it with your chest type of person, and that's a form of my accountability, like is being able to be so blunt or bold or something. I don't know, it's helpful.
Yes, just be brutally honest with people.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. That's not good.
I was
actually.
like, no.
That's not good.
I think you can be honest. You don't have to. I think you can be honest without being cutthroat. There's a graceful way. Presentation is everything, right?
And that's when people say respectfully. They don't mean you could just say anything disrespectful. It means saying something that might be could be misconstrued as disrespect, but saying it in a way that you know that's not. You know, because it's to me, it's all about how you talk to me. You know,
That-
talk to me
right.
nice. Talk
There
to me
could be,
right.
yeah, you could definitely say it one sentence differently, you know, it like, and
You
it
can
could
say
even-
one word. Okay can be said how many different times?
Okay.
Right, like okay. Like there's 100 ways you can do that, right? So
Totally, yeah,
you can
for
really say
sure.
something, and it's how you say it and how you present it. I guess my question to you is more so my curiosity is running around. I finally kind of figured out how to word it. What if you don't feel like you're accountable for something, but the other person in a relationship feels like you are accountable for that?
Give me an example. I don't know what you mean.
So let's say that you're out and you ride with a friend, and then something happens with a friend and you end up in a strange situation, not cheating, nothing like that, but a situation where your partner may say you're accountable, you should have came home, you should have called an Uber, and you're like, no, I was with my friend, or this is really off top, this has not happened to me, but I'm just
No, it's an
like,
example, yeah.
like, so you're with them and your partner feels like you're accountable for not coming home, although the circumstances kind of were wonky. Say she got into it with her boyfriend or something. You know what I'm saying?
Something that was out of the ordinary.
It was out of the ordinary, but you don't feel like you should be accountable for what's happened, vice
Nah,
versa.
I think that you'd be making excuses because you could remove yourself from any situation almost. I feel like I'm able to control my life a lot. Like I make sure I don't put myself in situations that I cannot control.
Yeah.
Just for that, you know what I mean? Like I ain't trying to be like, oh, I didn't make it home because so and so was out there, and they're like, nah, the fuck, I gotta get home. Like
Right.
because I'm accountable, like to my children, to my husband. Like there's more to it than just me. Like
Same here.
right.
I agree. How I live because of my record and my past and whatnot. I can't just be around anybody because what they do, and I can't. I'm not accountable for what they do, and I can't control how other people act. You know, so if this motherfucker starts some shit and gets some shit popping, and I'm right next to him, it's like, okay, first and foremost, I'm gonna defend myself, and then I'm gonna have to find a way to remove myself of that situation. But it's like even then, I could not do anything, and the cops come, and I would still, if somebody gets charged, I could get charged in being in concert with them. So I could go back to prison and possibly for a very long time. While they would probably just, it's first time causing a disturbance and shit, or a first time getting into a little street fight, it's nothing, or whatever the case, and they let them out. So me, I have to be accountable for the people that I'm around. I have to be accountable in the kind of situations that I put myself in, because I can't just be around anybody that acts any old kind of way. If you don't carry yourself like a normal person, which what I mean by that is like you're not fucking letting your emotions telling you what to do, then I can't be around you. You know, so I can't be around. That's why I don't like going to bars with people. I don't like going, because I'll be great. I'll be smooth, have a drink, good night, be respectful, have a blast. You feel me? Courteous, kind, chopping it up with everybody, you know. But I'll go with one person, don't know how to act. They what you looking at? And it's like, okay, bro, you my peoples. So I feel obligated to, you know, to help you and defend you. But I was like, at the same time, we're going to leave now before anything happens because of that.
Yeah.
And I'm never going out with you again because you don't know how to conduct yourself and you don't know what your actions could do to me. And I can't, like I said, I could only be accountable for my shit. So the best way that my mentality has kept me home is to making sure that I analyze situations before I get into them and decide whether or not I need to be in there at all. So that's how I kind of...
I feel like being like a female too, like I always gotta like over analyze situations, right, to keep myself
I think
safe.
all females do.
Right? Like it's just a different kind of like, if I don't know, it just is a different situation. And if like I don't even like, I think if I were to be in like a really scary situation or something, I fucking got myself there some way or another, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, you hear about these people going missing because they got into an argument and they walked off or something. That's your fucking fault. Why'd you walk off? Like, now you done got kidnapped, you know what I mean? And obviously you getting kidnapped ain't your fault, but you walking off is your fault. Take accountability for that at least. Like
yeah, and you know, it's I mean, obviously we're not blaming nobody, no victims or nothing like that.
No, but it is a choice though.
It is a choice.
It's a choice.
You know what I mean? Like,
you know?
it's a choice for you to walk away, or you could go fucking into the garage.
Okay, side note, am I wrong that if somebody's like, let me out, I'm with them in a relationship, let me out, I'm walking home, and I'm driving up and I'm like, get in, please get in the car, fuck you, da-da-da-da, and then I just smash off on her and go home and go to sleep? Am I wrong for that?
No.
I didn't mean to laugh.
No, I wanted you to laugh, but I've done that before though, that's why.
Yeah, no,
You're
not wrong.
And
No.
and slept like a rock, like a baby.
Okay.
Oof. But not to be a dick though. But once again, that was me being accountable. Because like I said, I'm not gonna be out here in public arguing with you, and then the cops come. Who the fuck thinks going to jail? So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna ask you once. I'm gonna ask you twice, kindly and calmly. Please get back in the car. You don't know you're walking home. Peel up out of there because I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna get confused with somebody that's arguing in the streets and none of that.
But see, here's the thing though. That could have prevented domestic violence from happening. Yeah. That could have, on either side. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always a reason for everything. People look at that as being heartless, but in reality, no. Yeah, I'm not gonna chose to get out of this vehicle.
But don't hit me.
And so, but that's what. No, but for real, but that's all a choice, right? You chose to get out. Okay, I'm asking you. Obviously, you can't control yourself, so who's to say she got in the car and now you getting beat up on the bridge or wherever? You know what I'm saying? So that's a choice. You chose to get out. I'm not going to beg you. We're grown.
I chose to take this crazy bitch
with
me to a club.
But people love that. People love that.
That attention.
People love that toxic. They love that.
I don't do that.
All that.
I don't like that that's celebrated because it's like, okay, that's cool and all. You guys think that shit's trendy until you really find yourself real miserable and being stalked and all kinds of shit and abused. And then on top of that, it's like, I don't like that behavior. You know, you gotta be grown. I mean, tell me what you want. Like, tell me what you like. You know, let's come together and let's not worry about shit like that and let's worry about some real issues. You know,
But see, lack of accountability is why people enter those relationships and they end up in
blaming each other
and then it's the next person and it's a pattern that you have and it's a choice, right? You got to do different things.
Preach.
So that
no, I'm just kidding.
No, but it's real. People don't just be real. I think people. My whole thing is, what are you afraid of? So you tell the truth, you did something, whatever, then the outcome is whatever the outcome is. You shouldn't have put yourself in that situation, or you should have thought about it differently. You know, there's sides to the story.
Hey, I've stopped explaining myself and just being like yes or no, because it's like you don't have to explain yourself to nobody. It's like your actions, and you just say yes or no, like you're accountable for it.
My decision should be enough.
Yeah, that's I don't have to.
That's all that there is to
that.
it. Like,
I used to be that person though. I used to be like, oh, let me explain why. Well, the military did that part for me. You have to tell everything that you're doing. I'm not going to be there.
You kind of break that program.
I'm not going to be there at 9 a.m. because da 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 da, and you have to list out why you're not going to be there.
Now I'm just like, I'm not going to be there at 9 a.m.
Yeah,
I'll see you later, and or whatever.
I can't do it. Period.
But just being accountable for that too, and I don't know, standing on your word. You know, and I don't know. I don't have to fucking justify.
But I think people.
There we go.
Sorry.
Eventually, something.
I need to keep myself together, you guys. I don't know what's happening.
Nah, you're doing all right. Don't beat yourself up now. But take accountability for your phone. It's all good. So look,
like Chinese.
And you know it's
sounds yummy.
I did add some rice.
Make me munch. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. Sun Bistro, shout out in Sand Creek.
Okay.
Fire.
I have to go check them out.
Actually, they are.
Yeah.
Fire.
Okay. Shout out to the free plug. We're gonna send them an invoice for this.
Right.
So what were we saying? We were on the whole relationship part of it, right? And as far as just the taking the accountability of stuff, and you were asking about like how do you what was the last point you made? You were talking about how do you when she told you was how do you take the accountability for somebody that doesn't
to take accountability for their actions. How does that? How do you? Like with your partner, if they're like, I see nothing wrong with what I did, whatever that case, and you're like, what do you mean? If they see nothing and you feel like they should be accountable, say it affected you in some way, it triggered you, or how can I explain it? Whatever action they did, they just didn't feel like they were wrong in what they did. And you felt like if the roles were reversed, that it would be a problem. But they're not. Does that make sense?
I think I address it. I just, but what I try to do, and I've been learning lately, everything doesn't need to be addressed right away. In the heat of the moment when it's going on. Like if we just had a disagreement about something and maybe I got the fucking, we stopped already, everything's chill. And maybe I got the point. The point is proven. I'm about to I'm going to wait till later to prove my point because I already know it. Sometimes it ain't it's not that the person is not taking accountability. It's just that they sometimes they're embarrassed that they were out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? So they just don't want to deal with it right then and there. But if the person is cool and you come at them like the next day and have a talk, hopefully at least it'll sink in a little better. And I don't know how I would deal with it if they didn't. I'm just like, okay, we'll agree to disagree on this one. And it depends on the magnitude. If it's some out of pocket foul shit, then we already know already. It ain't just it's agree to disagree. It's like, nah, what the fuck? What's really going on?
So do you hold yourself accountable if you know that they wouldn't know at whatever it was, and do you come clean or do you wait?
I think if you were looking for me, I'm gonna tell you if I wasn't doing anything wrong. I'm gonna tell you exactly, because if I'm fucking lying, complicated. You know,
That's
so
true.
if I was, and I know indeed in my heart I wasn't doing shit wrong and whatever, then there's no need to lie. You feel me? You know, I'm saying there's a need to lie ever, because there ain't no ever need to lie. But sometimes you lie. Everybody lies. But the thing is that, if it wasn't nothing foul and nothing wrong.
But if it was though,
well, it depends. It depends. Like it depends on what it is, right? So if it was something like, I don't know, like I'm a fucking career criminal and you don't know it, like type shit, then probably won't need to tell her, you know, like I'm out robbing and doing foul shit. Even though I should, I probably wouldn't, because those are some things that you don't want to involve somebody in, so the less they know, the better.
But aren't you involving them by being with them?
In a sense, yeah, I am. And even then, you know, that, like, obviously that's the criminal side talking and shit as far as that goes, but in that situation, just to me, honestly, I would feel like it's probably you don't know, because I wouldn't want. I would, or if I tell you, it's the less you know. Like I wouldn't be opposed to telling somebody. I wouldn't tell them like details, but I'd be like, yo, this is what I do when we first start talking. Period.
Give them the choice.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so I'm like, yo, this is the kind of lifestyle I live. I ain't got to tell them my secrets or where the fuck I go to at night, because obviously that's something else. But that's what time it is. When you meet me, you know what I'm about. And then if you don't want to take that ride, then shit, that's your choice. I'm a big person on giving people choices. You feel me? I don't always, we all fall short of our word, but from the gate, this is me. So what are you trying to do? You know, and if you know the circumstances, you know, situations, it's from that point on, we can't do nothing unless that person agrees. And if it's not, and if she's not down with it, then we probably wouldn't be living that lifestyle where I come home and gotta worry about that shit, because I don't think it would get to that point. You know, yeah, I think like I said, I try to analyze and observe the situation and what I'm ready for and what I'm not, and I'm gonna do my best to not just rush into shit head first like I used to. I'm not quick to just jump into it with anybody for anything serious. If it's not, you know, if I'm not 100% with you, business, whatever, relationships. You know, it depends. If we're just casual friends, that's different. Like, you know, you might know people or just associates. It's not that deep. You feel me? But like I'm talking about, if I'm really fucking with you on something, on some kind of business, on some kind of anything, I kind of got to feel you out already. And I got to know that you're about what you say you're about. And, you know, you got to know what I put on the table as well as what you put on the table. I'm big on, like how you said, being direct. Just say it. What we doing? You know what I mean? What's going on? How can we get better? How can we fix it? And if we can't fix it, why? You know, what's your problem? What got it to this point? And if we still can't, I could agree to disagree, because I could let it go. I'm sure this shit probably piles up after a while if it's depending on the severity, like I said. But if it's small shit, minor shit, like you was fucking up, do better. You feel me? You got me fucked up though. And when I do that shit, I don't want to hear nothing from nobody, at least for one time. And then after that, it's whatever. so I get a pass since I'm letting this shit go.
No.
When the shit happens to me and my homeboy gets drunk and I'm not driving this shit, you better, you can call me. I'll let you know. Hey, you know what I'm saying? And but even then I don't do that shit. It's like I'll get an Uber or something if it's that serious.
Yeah.
You know? And you know, communication is key. So if that's happening, a little situation like that's happening, I expect you to call me and be like, yo, this out of pocket shit is happening right now. Such and such is this, that, and other. This is what I'm gonna do. I'll hit you back like in an hour or two, you know, find out what we're doing. I'm like, I bet. To me, that helps me a lot right there, just because the most thing I worry about anything is like, are you okay? First and foremost, are you okay? Okay, boom. Now, do I got to beat your ass? Is this next one I got to worry about? And I mean that in a, not in the literal sense, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I like how both of y'all were like super flabbergasted when I said that, and y'all just like, huh, yeah. Then it's like, I had to run it back real quick. You like how I slid that in there, right? Yeah. Anyways, but then, you know, that's the first thing, you know, it's like, you okay? Everything all right? Okay, boom. Let me know what's happening. A little bit of communication. I'm good. That's it.
So I was thinking about it from like my significant other's point of view, right? Like if he were to be like not taking accountability, right? And how would I react? And I feel like I would just want him to understand kind of like my feelings on it almost like, and then see like almost sympathize with me and then be like, okay, well, I can get how you feel that way. Even
Try to
though,
understand.
Yeah, be understanding, right? Like if you can't, if he wouldn't be able to be, because it definitely reminded me of this one moment early on in my relationship when I totally hooked up with this girl, and I thought him and I had an understanding that like that was okay, right? Like that I could hook up with other girls and it'd be fine, or hook up with girls and it'd be fine. But he still swears that I cheated on him. I'm like, bro, didn't nobody cheat on you? Like, and so like that's something that I'm not taking accountability for, because in my heart I didn't fucking cheat on him. Like,
because you guys talked
him
about
and
it.
I talked about it, and it was the green light, and so I do what I do. Like, but because I didn't call him right before it happened or some old sideways bullshit, he wanted to be like I cheated on him, and so he'll still say.
But do you get why he might?
But
feel
I
like
can
that?
get why he feels that way. You know what I mean? And then it also was helpful for the future to be like, okay, well, if I am gonna hook up with somebody, like I'll let you be aware of it, so that way you ain't just like Booba the Fool or something. You know what I mean? And then that's like, and then it helped us in further, like every time that like there's a hard moment, right, that we are like working through, it gives us like a chance to work on that in the future and be like, okay, well, I really didn't like that, so let's do that differently or something.
Right.
Or like I really did like that, like let's do more of that or whatever, you know.
Hot Mama lives that open relationship lifestyle with her husband. So
I
That's how I
hear.
tiptoe the saucy line.
that was the look. That's why I was like, just say
Gotcha.
it.
Yeah.
Just say it. She was saying.
Yeah.
that's
Well, I
like-
mean, I figured. I kind
yeah.
of.
I mean, I figured
got
that too. So
impression.
I mean, of course I figured, but I mean, like I kind of figured you picked up on
Yeah,
something, you know?
yeah.
And that's her being the brave soul, just coming over here and fucking being real, being honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just because it's like it's a little bit non-traditional, right? Like to be able to welcome other people into our relationship or whatever, but it's something that's fun and new and hard and exciting and stuff. So it's just like a little bit out of the norm, but I'm so breaking out of the norm. Like I'm all about that. So
Stugging.
I mean, but what's normal nowadays?
exactly,
You know,
and that's why I'm just like, I'm gonna be me, because I'm tired of trying to be normal and then it not making me happy, not fulfilling me, like, and so that's why I'm like okay with like not whatever people want me to be, like, or what people expect me to be.
And we talked
you know?
about this, like, well, but you're still being, just because you live your lifestyle a certain way, that doesn't make you a bad person. Like, you still take care of all your responsibilities, do everything you're supposed to. And a lot of times people will judge because it's not what they go through, but it's like, it may not, what works for them may not work for, you know, them. You know what I mean?
Sometimes
It's
when
whatever.
people don't understand things, they're just kind of like more scared of it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it'd be a fear. I think it's more so it's taboo. So I think anybody is more like, oh, more so. I mean, I can't speak for everybody. I'm not going to. But I think it's more on the lines of like, oh, that's interesting. Like, you know, I don't know if it's a fear necessarily.
Well, some people for
something
themselves
or
just couldn't see
irrational
themselves
fear.
doing it.
I
So
feel
it's
like
Right.
in my life, I have lost relationships because, like, with some really cool people, just because they fear what the fuck I am. Like, they're threatened almost by this, like, energy that I have, you know what I mean? And it's like,
well, you're gonna take my man. and
exactly, bitch. Don't nobody want your man. I just want to fuck him, and then go ahead. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Terrible
I'm just
people.
kidding. But no, I'm just saying, like, and so I feel like people sometimes are scared of.
You just feel threatened, maybe.
Yeah, you
Feel
know what I
threatened
mean.
by it.
But I feel like people have interpreted all sorts of ways. People will look at me like I'm weird. You know what I mean? Like what your husband don't love you or something, like, because he's willing to share you, and this is like, it's not that neither. Like, I don't know. It's really funny. All the different reactions.
It's interesting
I have
because
a
you don't give a
question.
fuck. You're like, fuck all that shit.
What if, so you have a daughter, how would you feel if she was in an open relationship? What would
I would
that?
be happy for her, and I would encourage it as well, because I wouldn't encourage it, excuse me. For myself, I feel like I have so much love inside me to give out, right? That why should I, like, when I try to put it all into one person, it overflows and motherfuckers get annoyed with me, and it's just like a lot, right? And so I feel like, shut up.
I'm listening.
And so I feel like for me, it works to be able to have these relationships, multiple relationships, right? For my daughter, who knows if in her life she's gonna have so much love where she does feel capable of overflowing it.
I'm so curious. So much love. Can you give me an example? Like, I'm curious. Like you said, it's so much that it's like, what is that? What is that for you?
Okay, so for me, it's like, so I have so much to give, right? Like, I feel like I could hold it down at home, right? And then like be there for my family, be there for my husband, be there for myself, and then still have more to give, like whether it be like, and I do feel like it was sexually motivated at first because I'm just a very sexual person, I feel like. And so I feel like that's where where it first started flowing into, you know what I mean? But I feel like the more that I tap into this, it's more like I got deep connections. I feel like I could fucking have deep connections with multiple people, like be able to be in multiple people's lives in a way that could be positive for the both of us, right? Like, and then, and it be like, I don't know, like, okay, so I feel like I could pour into one cup, you know, and fill that cup up with what I got to give, and they'd be so happy, and then pour into this other cup and fill it up to what they're happy with too. And I don't know, and so that's what I mean by like I got.
Makes you feel like fulfilled to like basically be a part of people's lives and help them and shit like that.
So is it sexual?
I think a lot of it is, but there's also some of it that's not. That's like more platonic as well.
Right. So I'm curious just with the sexual side of it, just because that's what it sounds like. It's more carnal desires necessarily. Like you do build these connections with these people, but it's also more sexually driven. So what if when they want more, what if they're now pouring in and wanting more from you? And what if, you know, that could muddy a lot of different areas, you know, if there's an attachment there that is deeper than people expect, and it could be only on one side, you know what I'm saying? In those situations, who's accountable? If you can't give them what they want because they've now have this love for you or whatever the case is, regardless if it's sexually driven, there's that connection there. And some people a lot of times confuse sexually driven emotions and feelings with, well, there's more to this than, you know what I'm saying? Like there's more to a relationship than just what we're doing. So who's accountable? Are you accountable in that situation for that relationship getting to that level?
I don't think that it's solely my accountability to make these relationships go deep, right? Because it takes two people to strengthen a relationship. And so I feel like if somebody else is pouring in to the cup, right? Like then they're also investing into it, and then they are becoming like accountable for this bond or this relationship as well.
But
right?
you guys have like, you guys talk about it though, right? Like you explain to each other that this is all that it's gonna be. Like as far as we're not trying to run off and get married or shit like that, or
big time. You guys kind of so there's that accountability between my husband and I, like that this isn't like trying to create a family with other people. And so then when we do tap into these other relationships, these people already know off top that if they're trying to create a family with us, this isn't that. You know, and so there's already that kind of like accountability, right? Like, right. And then if it's like, if it does, I don't know that it would ever become, I don't know. Like, I think that like you'd reach that point or whatever, but,
well, I mean, I ask that because soul ties are real, not physical exchange of whatever. It's still that's real. That's something. You are now bonded to that person. Y'all, you have switched DNA. You have, right? So I guess my curiosity stems from, you know, you said earlier you had made a statement on, well, it's carnal desire. You said I have so much left to give, and you know, we're talking more sexually at this point. That it's just too much. But is that because that's how, like, is that how you feel it's too much? Has your husband said it's too much? Like, has there been, you know what I'm saying? Do you feel like...
No, like, definitely to be therapized, I definitely do feel like I'm too much for sure. Like,
but look at that though. So let's pause, right? I'm really having a session right now. So
okay, well, remember we're on the mic. Let's not dig too deep on the podcast.
I'm sorry, because I'm so curious now. I mean, just have my wheels turning because it seems like that's that's an insecurity that you have. In reality, it may not even be a case. We call it mind reading, right? So I'm thinking that you're feeling a way about something, so I'm moving differently because of how I think you're feeling, and then in reality, I may not even be feeling that way, right? Until you ask. That's where it's like, hey, is there an issue? Hey, there's that communication.
I don't know, like actions sometimes show me more than words do, right? So you could tell me, you say no?
No, actions. So if I tell you I'm going to do something and my action doesn't follow, that speaks volume. Yeah. If I'm moving away and I'm saying I'm not good at communicating and I don't know how to communicate because I don't know that I'm bad at communicating, right? Because communication comes on different levels, right? So you have different types of communication. You have surface level communication where you're like, hey, what's the plan today? Then you have your deeper, right? You know what I'm saying? You go, there's layers to communication, right? So you saying, I don't know, I feel like by your actions, you're showing me that maybe I'm too much sexually. I'm not saying this is I'm just saying in this. Yeah. So now he doesn't know, he's just being himself, you know. He's like, what are you talking about? And you've interpreted something based off of something that's happened to you in the past, or a situation where there was even a trauma, a rupture in a relationship where it's caused you now to be more, I call it hyper self-aware, when we can be aware of ourselves, but then there's like a too much awareness where now we're looking into things or thinking things
or
that aren't
trying
really
to guess
there.
for people and stuff like that, what they think or what they feel. Right.
So we then turn into our own insecurity. So that, I'm just saying, it's interesting that you said that, because it just it makes me wonder, you know, in these moments, how do we hold ourselves accountable if we don't even know we're doing anything? You're thinking on action is being done that maybe it reminds you of a situation that's happened in the past, and now you think that's how that person feels. So we go into mind reading, right? And then how do we hold ourselves accountable for misreading?
I know you guys talk a lot, though, right? So he knows, like, I'm sure you guys had this talk. You know what I mean? No, you guys had that talk though about why you guys choose to live how, you know, like, because it's not just her, it's him too. So.
Oh no! I was just saying.
Yeah. That's definitely a whole ass bag for sure.
So, yeah, no doubt. It's when it, cause see how deep this whole little topic is, and that's why I was telling you, it was like this shit could go like 10 minutes, it could go for another hour. But it's definitely something that I think that there needs to be more of, and we gotta like today what we were talking about is the perfect breakdown, because it gives you different levels of it. We kind of, and what you were explaining and what the difference is between those. What else? Like how can people put more accountability into their lives? Like, do you have anything you could recommend for them? Tips on how to be more accountable?
Patterns. Pay attention. You know, if you're finding yourself in same kind of friendships, same kind of situations, and, you know, kind of
negative ones,
negative,
of course,
negative, even in like job life and what you're doing. Like, if you're finding that, okay, what I'm doing right now is not making me happy, you're accountable for your happiness. So I need to figure out I got to do something different, right?
Choice.
It is. Circumstances influence that,
for sure. But
our choices are a majority, right? Of we choose to be happy, we choose to respond or react. Even if it's a brief second of a choice, you have that split second to make a choice. And one choice can change the entire trajectory of your life.
Facts.
Literally.
Facts.
You know, I always say a lot can happen in 24 hours. You can have a baby in 24 hours. You can make a baby in 24. You know, like there's a lot that can happen in 24 hours. So
don't even take that long.
Right. But so I think just like taking a step back, I like what you said, checking yourself and understanding there are different levels of accountability. There are different levels of accountability and how to hold yourself accountable in each situation. So I think it's just about being honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. I'm not happy. Why am I not happy? And start asking those factors, like what's in my life right now? What's currently contributing?
And not only that, but also put the action behind it. You know, okay, how can, if I know this, this constantly got me in a bad place, and I kind of narrowed it down to what it is. What am I doing to alleviate that? What am I doing to try to make it better? Because, you know, you staying there in that same situation is a choice too.
Right. Well, everything has potential. Everything has potential, right? So when I was growing up, my grandpa used this analogy. He was like, you know, the light switch or the light has the potential to turn on, right? But if I don't get up and turn the light switch on, the light's not going to turn on.
Facts.
So you have to, and then you have to decide which light you want to turn on as well. You know, what do you want to do? What is that potential that you're putting yourself in? And does it have potential to go further and bring you, you know, to the place wherever you feel you need to be in life, happiness, peace, whatever.
Exactly.
So
don't sleep on yourself, people. That's the most important thing. Don't sleep on yourself. There's possibilities out there. I think that's one of the things that I do a lot. I look at people and I see the good in them and I see their potential. And I could be too much sometimes when it comes to dealing with people just because since I believe so much in the possibilities and what people are capable of, sometimes the people that I'm trying to motivate to be on that don't see it themselves. And then I'm like, you know, I'm weird because that's all I talk about, or I'm always doing this. I always got something going on. It's like you never hang out, or you never. It's like, bro, I'm not wasting time right now, you know. And whenever I like with you guys coming on the podcast and stuff, you know, it's not just we're cool, we're acquaintances. It's like I know that you guys are trying to do the same thing. So I bring you on here. You know, I know the potential. You guys just need the exposure to it. And that's what happens. And the more you guys come on there, now look at you. You launched your own podcast. She got her podcast going right now, The Love Fix with The Love Fix Triple X. That's how you find it. But she got her own podcast going on. You know, yours is coming soon. Yours is going to be working. You're going to be working on yours soon. It should be out there. And this is what I do. I see the good in people, and I know the possibilities and potential. So I try to give people that opportunity, you know, to be like, hey, if you want to, you know, if I could help you, I will. Am I going to go out of my way and break my back for you? No. You know, just know that I will. Because I'm the type of person, like, my thing is networking. So if you know somebody and I know somebody and we know them mutually, like how we met through Shawnee B. You're over there at the factory, right? Shout out to Shawnee B in the factory, you know what I mean? 925. And just by meeting you, and I'm over there to pick up one of my homeboys that's filming for Shawnee B. Shout out to 34 Films. You know, I'm gonna shout everybody out. I'm picking up my podcast footage from him that he was editing from the 100th episode. When I go there, you're there, and you're there for a video shoot.
yeah.
So and my friend 34 Films is filming it. Is shooting it. So then I'm like, okay, bet. Bam.
Shout out Brandon.
You feel me? Shout out Brandon too. You feel me? Putting it down, like, you know. So, you know, that happened. You seen my podcast, we start talking, boom, I'm like, come holla at me, let's, you know, we're gonna work. You know, you wanna do this for real, I'll show you how, Same thing with you. I've been knowing you forever, but you know, I heard you like years ago get on somebody's podcast, remember? And I'm like, you did pretty fucking good, because you're like, listen, check it out, listen, because she's a long-time listener also of the podcast before she was actually on it. So shout out to Hot Momma for really holding it down, one of the two people that came up listening to it, and now she's here. So you know, the same thing when you came on, and then, you know, as soon as you started doing episodes, like what I tell you, I was like, you know, I know you wanted, I want to do mine eventually. And I was like, the same thing, come in here, get some hours behind the mic, learn how we do this shit. I'll tell you, I'll write down a list, make you a list of everything that you need to get started, the website, everything, and then you take it from there. And it, that's a problem though too sometimes, because sometimes you do that for people and you end up regretting that shit. Like, you're just like, man.
Not I.
You fucking fumble. You suck.
I'm still here.
No, we're not talking about you. You know what I mean? Nah, shout out to everybody. I can be
accountable for myself, though. You know.
No, there's only one person accountable for this podcast. It's Patty, our producer. So shout out to Patty. You know, if y'all got a problem with anything that we said on this fucking podcast, you know, go ahead and hit at 16th World on Instagram and voice your complaints there. That's producer Patty. She's a billionaire though, just so you know. So she don't give a fuck about nothing you gotta say. But at least you know, you feel like you have an outlet to vent. You know, so please slander her in the comments if you hate this podcast. But I think we're good. We're about at almost 2 hours right there. So that's fire right there. That was a dope ass conversation. Thank you for the ABCs. We're gonna make sure to try. Hopefully we get you every other week at least. I know you're busy off. You got to take care of business too. You're a very busy woman, and educating yourself further and working and taking care of it. You know, Hot Momma, you already know the same thing with you. The cool thing about you is because you know what time it is already. Your schedule works. You feel me? Your schedule works for me. You know what I mean? My schedule is shot out. If I got, we could do shit during the week, but most people are busy doing other shit. So I try to reserve shit for the weekends. That way I could take my time. You know, we could like right now. I went on no time crunch. I thought. What I say, it could be like 10 minutes, it could be 30, you feel me? So we're going to go ahead and...
Thank you for letting me get into your world a little bit.
That's cool. I'm with it, girl. I think it's great. Definitely. I appreciate it.
It was so interesting. No, I know. I just got so intrigued, but thank you. You could have stopped me. If anybody ever gets uncomfortable, stop me and be like...
I definitely know. I think that being too much is something that I've come to terms with recently. Like, it was something that definitely made me really sad, like, for a long time. But I think that I'm learning to be too much is fucking okay. Like, it is okay to be too much. And I don't know. I'm just looking at it from a different perspective now.
Yeah.
No,
I'm owning that shit.
And it's never about. It's everybody here knows. You know, everybody's comfortable here. We're all comfortable. Speak up, say what we got to say. And at any time that someone's not, all you got to do is say it. You know, like that's kind of what we're talking about.
We'll just do a disclaimer next time. I just want to say that.
No, I already know. I already got my guard up.
Hey, you got to tell me when she's gonna be here. Right?
He got so quiet.
I put my shield up. No. I wasn't even talking about that. I'm talking about when you were asking me some stuff. I was like, I was like Voltron. I'm about to cover myself. Hold on. Start sticking and moving. Hold on. Well, are you talking to me or are you therapizing me right now? What's going on? Like, you know. So I was already in defense mode. Like,
I'll get him next time.
I already know. It's terrible. I had to scale it back. Like, hold on a second. But I appreciate you. Honestly, I appreciate the conversation. It's breath of fresh air to get somebody in here that does not see things like how we see things, because we kind of grew up from the same era, same friends, neighborhood, and the whole stuff like that. So, you know, we have our outlook on, you know, our life, and then now here you come and somebody else in the mix, different. You know, you've went to the military, you've lived a different kind of lifestyle than myself personally. I mean, I was you know what I'm saying, in some kind of military at one point. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Nah, nothing like that, but yes, for quite some time, yes. But we better now. Everything's good. I'm glad everybody's here. Thank you for coming back. We're going to start with you. We're going to do the shout outs. We're on our way out, so you know what time it is.
Wait, go follow my tie-dye page first. Simone. It's totally tie-dyed designs. And I totally got an Instagram for the Love Fix. But, okay, let's see. I dropped my phone, so I'm going to do it from memory. And I'm pretty sure it's the_love_fix, FIXX ____.
Damn. That many love fixes out there, huh?
I was the counting.
I'm fucking done. That was the best I could do for now.
I remember you said, I don't know what I was like. I can't find a variation for it. Like,
yeah, I was really needing your help. Literally, I ended up being able to figure out Blue's Clues on my own, but I fucked up because I was trying to do it with, like, you know, XXX, like how the podcast is, but apparently everybody in Instagram land is XXX already, so I had to do 2 X's. So that's, you know, love
and
fix.
hella underscores too. Jesus Christ.
What? Fuck off. Okay.
Maybe we should do the Love Fix podcast.
I've tried. You know, we could do this afterwards. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you could change it though. That's the cool thing about your handle.
Yeah. I tried to change it.
You can make it like a long O. The Love Fix. That's what I think of on it.
How many O's? A couple O's. I'm fucking.
3 O's for the 3 X's.
Yeah.
3 O's for the 3 X's.
Too many threes for me, yo. No, I'm just kidding.
Hold on, now we set tripping this shit now. Fuck off. It's because I got the
You're rocking the flannel today.
Simone, yeah. All right, I get it. Britt, how can they reach out and, well, you're kind of under the radar. Exactly. Yeah. Catch you here, catch you nowhere.
Yeah. See you when you see it, huh?
Yeah.
Any shout outs though? You shout out anybody? You ain't got to, you know, since you ain't got no shout out.
You know, Brandon always is my bestie.
Off top.
And all my loved ones, I don't know. I don't really.
Hey.
All the people I love, you know I love you.
Okay, right on. I appreciate you. Where'd my book go?
What book are you?
The book you were sitting on.
You put it back.
I put it back. Oh, I was going to say, because shout out my guy right here, the Uganda, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever he's called. I actually read this book. He's a yogi. He's fired up. You know what I mean? Nothing but game in this book. So I'm shouting him out. You feel me? That's pretty much my shout outs for the day. Well, actually, I got to shout out the Instagram because a lot of you motherfuckers out there don't listen. So you can find us on Instagram at no_invite_podcast. You could also go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, RiBirth Media Films, RiBirth Media Films with a Z. Slander us in the comments. Like I said, you know where to take your complaints though, at 16th World on Instagram. Shout out P World Patty, globe trotting, you know, in 2 different time zones in one day type shit, you know, jet setting, living that life, and still waiting for that grant she promised. But don't trip, you know, we'll be on one day. Hopefully we could catch up to our first billion, you know, before Patty gets to her 5th. You know how that goes. But yeah, we're out.